Hey Dragon Slayers! Today's video is about what we eat and its importance to reversing insulin resistance. Now we have arrived at what is the most powerful part of the solution in the fight against insulin resistance. It's the food we eat. The most powerful, but also the most difficult to change. So much has been written about this in recent decades. So for me, exploring the benefits to insulin sensitivity as a consequence of altering the diet required a thoughtful and deliberate analysis of published research. The results of such an analysis led me to one unavoidable conclusion. When it comes to diet, we got it wrong. The epidemics of obesity and insulin resistance are partially the product of bending science to fit politics. As documented thoroughly by Gary Taubes in Good Calories, Bad Calories, and by Nina Teicholz, The Big Fat Surprise, in the 1950s and the 1960s, a political consensus was created from the limited and highly debated data suggesting dietary fat, particularly saturated fat, correlated with heart disease. In remarkably little time, this correlation became considered causation, and a tentative theory became dietary dogma. Soon, we collectively learned to vilify dietary fat as the leading cause of heart disease, weight gain, and diabetes. Though at the time, the scientific community widely criticized this move. And at its simplest, the battle of thought between political agenda and scientific process centered around the relevance of calorie number versus calorie type in determining the ideal nutrition for good health. Supporters of the calorie numbers argue that it's all a matter of mathematics. It's a simple thermodynamic equation. If you eat fewer calories than you expend, you'll be lean and insulin sensitive. If you eat more calories than you expend, you'll be fat and insulin resistant. On the other side, many argue that the type of calorie is more relevant than the number. A nutrient once consumed affects the body's hormones, particularly insulin. And it's this subsequent insulin effect that drives insulin resistance, fat gain, and eventually disease. Depending on your school of thought, then the solution to insulin resistance is either restricting calories, which almost invariably means a low-fat diet, or restricting certain types of carbohydrates, which aims to keep insulin low. Now, I mentioned earlier that the human body is somewhat more complicated than a simple furnace. And there's more to diet than simply calories in and calories out. Let's take a look at the research on these varied approaches, limiting calories, the most common dietary intervention in our society to prevent weight gain and or add weight loss is calorie restriction. And this is the same tool that is used in attempts to fix insulin resistance. However, whereas calorie restriction will cause weight loss, if only in the short term, its effects on insulin resistance are less conclusive. These paradoxical findings may be explained by the type of weight that's lost. One of the problems with the calorie restriction is that you have no control over where on the body the weight loss occurs. We certainly want to lower body fat, but in this state of hopefully mild starvation, known diplomatically as calorie restriction, the body is also reducing the amount of lean mass a person has, including muscle and bone. It's easy to see the problem. The less lean mass a person has, especially muscle, the less insulin-sensitive tissue is available to help clear glucose from the blood and restore insulin levels back to baseline. Yes, that means that calorie restriction can cause insulin resistance. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. And remember, guys, that together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.